I pranked my Karen boss by faking a resignation letter. Her panic was epic. Every office has that boss. The one who makes you wonder how they even got their job. The one who micromanages every breath you take, sends emails at 2 a.m., takes credit for your work, and somehow still has the audacity to complain that you aren't working hard enough. Mine? Her name was Karen McAllister, and she was the crown jewel of corporate nightmares. If passive-aggressive emails were an Olympic sport, she'd have at least 3 gold medals. If gaslighting employees was an art form, she'd have a whole wing dedicated to her at the Louvre. And if micromanaging burned calories, she'd be too thin to physically exist. For 2 years I had put up with her nonsense. I had endured the last-minute demands, the unpaid overtime, the way she somehow found a way to blame me for things that happened before I was even hired. But the final straw? That came on a Monday morning, because of course it was a Monday, when she decided to ruin my week before I even had a chance to sip my coffee. I had spent all weekend working on a massive client presentation, one that she had dumped on me last minute, claiming she was too busy with important executive tasks, translation. Probably watching reality TV in her office with the door closed. I walked in, proud of the masterpiece I had created, ready to present it to the client. And then, Karen did what Karen does best. She took one look at the slides, smiled her signature fake smile, and said, "Oh, this looks great. I'll just go ahead and present it myself." I blinked. "Wait, what?" She waved a dismissive hand. "It just makes more sense for me to handle it, you know, since I have more experience in these meetings." I stared at her. "But I did all the work." She smiled wider, as if I were a small child who just didn't understand how the world worked. "Yes, and I'm sure you learned so much from it. Great job." Then, she walked into the meeting room and presented my work like she had stayed up all weekend doing it herself. That was it. The exact moment I decided that I was going to make her life a living nightmare. Quitting wasn't an option. I actually liked my job, just not the demon in human form who ran my department. But what if I made her think I was quitting? The idea hit me like divine inspiration, a fake resignation letter. Something just believable enough to send her into full panic mode. Something just passive-aggressive enough to let her know exactly why she was a terrible boss. I grabbed my keyboard and got to work. I wanted it to be subtle, but not too subtle. I wanted it to feel real, but also loaded with hints of revenge. After several drafts and an unhealthy amount of caffeine, I had the masterpiece. "Dear Karen, I regret to inform you that I am resigning from my position as my job title at company name, effective 2 weeks from today. This decision did not come easily, but after careful reflection, I have realized that I am seeking a workplace that aligns more with my professional goals, specifically, one where my contributions are recognized as my own, rather than team efforts that magically end up on someone else's PowerPoint. I deeply appreciate the valuable lessons I have learned under your leadership, such as how to craft entire projects that mysteriously become someone else's hard work. The delicate art of reading between the lines of emails that say, 'Let's collaborate,' but actually mean 'do this for me.' Mastering workplace telepathy to anticipate last-minute urgent tasks that were never mentioned until 5 minutes before the deadline. I am confident that the skills I have developed here will serve me well in my next role, especially my ability to suppress emotions and maintain a neutral face in the presence of absurd managerial decisions. Please let me know the next steps for the transition process. I am more than happy to ensure a smooth handover, although I suspect that will be quite difficult given that my replacement will require both a high pain tolerance and a saint-like level of patience. Best regards, my name." It was a work of art, and the best part? I didn't email it to her. No, that would have been too easy to undo. Instead, I printed it out, folded it neatly, and placed it right on her desk, slightly tilted, so it looked like it had been accidentally left there. And then, I sat back and waited for chaos to unfold. I didn't have to wait long. About an hour later, I heard it, a shriek so loud it could have shattered glass. Then, the sound of heels clacking violently against the floor, and then, "Karen wants to see you now." Oh, this was going to be glorious. I casually grabbed my coffee, took an extra slow sip, and strolled into her office as if I had no idea what was happening. She was standing behind her desk, the letter clutched in her hand, looking like she had just witnessed the apocalypse firsthand. "Is this real?" she demanded. I blinked, forcing the most innocent expression I could muster. What? She thrust the letter in my face. This? Are you really quitting? I stared at the paper for a long moment, pretending to read my own words. Then I tilted my head. Wait, where did you find this? She froze. Her eyes darted around, realizing she had just exposed herself. I found it on my desk. I crossed my arms. So, you were reading my personal documents? She visibly malfunctioned. That's not... I sighed dramatically, taking the letter from her hands. I was still editing this. I didn't mean to leave it out. Her face went through several phases of panic before settling on the sweet spot between fear and desperation. Listen, she started, suddenly adopting a sickly sweet tone. If there's anything I can do to make you reconsider... Oh, this was better than I had ever dreamed. I folded my arms, raising an eyebrow. You'd really be willing to make changes to keep me? She nodded aggressively. Yes, of course. Whatever you need. I tapped my chin, pretending to think deeply. Well, I'd love to be given proper credit for my work. Karen's eye twitched. And it would be so great if last-minute projects were actually assigned in advance instead of 10 minutes before they're due. She sweated harder. And, if possible, a slight salary increase for the extra responsibilities I've been handling. I'll see what I can do, she blurted out, looking like she was about to combust. I smiled. She had no idea she had just negotiated against a resignation that wasn't even real. And that was the greatest revenge of all. Karen was spiraling. And honestly, it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. After reading my accidentally misplaced resignation letter, she had spent the rest of the day lurking around the office, watching me like I was an endangered species about to go extinct. She kept hovering near my desk, awkwardly pretending to be doing something while obviously waiting for me to crack and confirm my departure. It was glorious. But the real fun, that came the next morning. Because that's when Karen entered her full-blown crisis mode. The second I stepped into the office, I could tell something was off. Karen was already there, which was weird because she was never on time for anything that didn't involve taking credit for other people's work. And more than that, she was being nice. Not fake nice. Not passive-aggressively condescending like she usually was. She was actively making an effort to pretend to be a decent human being, and it was making everyone uncomfortable. "Good morning, team," she called out, flashing a plastic smile so wide it looked like she had practiced in the mirror for hours. "How's everyone feeling today?" People exchanged confused glances. Jamie from accounting leaned toward my desk and whispered, "Is she on drugs?" I smirked. Worse. Karen beelined straight for me, heels clicking aggressively against the tile floor. "Ah, there's my favorite employee," she chirped. I nearly choked on my coffee. "Excuse me?" She waved a dismissive hand, like I hadn't just witnessed her commit corporate personality fraud in real time. "I was hoping to catch you before you got too busy. Let's have a quick chat, shall we?" Oh, this was going to be fun. I slowly set my coffee down, leaned back in my chair, and gave her my best neutral expression. "Of course," I said, as if I had no idea where this was going. Karen clapped her hands together, too enthusiastically, and gestured for me to follow her into her office. The second the door clicked shut, her whole demeanor changed. The fake cheeriness vanished, replaced by barely concealed panic. "So," she started, settling into her chair. "I've been thinking." I nodded. "That's a first." She ignored that. "About your, recent decision." I tilted my head. "Decision?" She cleared her throat, reaching into her desk and pulling out my fake resignation letter, which she had clearly reread about 100 times overnight. "This," she said, dramatically waving it in the air like it was a hostage note. "This very hasty decision." I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. "Hasty?" She nodded aggressively. "Yes, and I just want to make sure you're not making a rash choice based on, temporary emotions." "Ah." She thought she could gaslight me into staying. This was too good. I sighed dramatically, giving her a thoughtful look, as if I were deep in contemplation. "Well, it's just that I've been feeling a little underappreciated." Karen visibly twitched. "Underappreciated?" I nodded. Yeah, Just little things. Like when my work is taken credit for, or when last-minute projects magically become my problem. Her eye twitched harder. I leaned forward. Or when I'm expected to be available at all hours because someone, I gave her a pointed look, doesn't understand basic scheduling skills. Karen gripped the armrest of her chair like she wanted to snap it in half. "I can fix that," she blurted out. I blinked. "What?" She forced another fake smile. "I mean, of course, you're such a valuable asset to this company. I wouldn't want you to feel neglected." I stared at her, waiting for the catch. "There's room for growth here," she added, her voice a little too high-pitched to sound natural. "Maybe we can discuss a raise?" Oh, this was getting better by the second. I tapped my chin. A raise does sound nice. Karen nodded so fast I thought her head might detach. "Yes, exactly. Let's talk about it. Just, no need to rush out the door just yet, right?" I made a show of pretending to think deeply. "Well," I sighed, tilting my head. "I guess I could stay a little longer. I mean, I still have 2 weeks left, right?" Her shoulders sagged in relief. "Yes, exactly. Let's revisit this conversation in a few days." "Perfect," I said, grinning internally. Because she had no idea. I wasn't leaving at all, and she had just negotiated against a resignation that didn't exist. Over the next few days, Karen went from overbearing dictator to completely desperate. She started bringing me coffee, which was suspicious, considering the only thing she had ever handed me before was extra work and stress-induced migraines. She also started publicly praising me in team meetings, which felt like watching a wild animal try to walk on 2 legs. Unnatural, unsettling, and a little hilarious. But the best part? She stopped dumping work on me. In fact, she actually asked before assigning something. I was living the dream. Until the plot twist happened. It all started with a company-wide email. Subject line, "Big news, exciting promotions and role changes." I clicked it open without thinking much of it, until I saw my own name listed under the promotions section. My eyes widened. Wait, what? I scanned the announcement, my heartbeat doubling. Apparently, due to my outstanding contributions to the company, upper management had decided to fast-track my promotion to senior staff, something I had been fighting for years. And Karen? She hadn't been told in advance, which meant I shot a glance toward her office just in time to see her furiously typing an email, her face the perfect blend of rage and panic. Oh, this was priceless. Because now she couldn't afford to lose me. If she had been desperate before, she was about to reach a whole new level of unhinged. And the best part? I still hadn't told her my resignation was fake, which meant I had one last move to play. Karen was imploding, and I was enjoying every second of it. After my fake resignation letter sent her into a full-fledged spiral of desperation, I had been riding the wave of sweet, sweet workplace revenge, watching her grovel, offer me special treatment, and even suggest a raise just to keep me from leaving. But the plot twist? Upper management had unknowingly upped the stakes by promoting me, without telling her first. And now? Now she was stuck in an impossible position. She couldn't afford to lose me, but she also couldn't outright admit that she had been mistreating me for years. So instead she was spiraling in real time, scrambling to regain control. And I was going to milk this for every ounce of satisfaction it was worth. The day after the promotion announcement, Karen tried to act normal. Tried to pretend that she wasn't on the verge of a breakdown. But the signs were everywhere. For starters, she was strangely polite in the morning meeting. Not her usual fake nice, but actually insulting kind of polite. No, this was forced corporate friendliness. The kind of tone that said, "I am one bad email away from losing it, but I have no choice but to smile." "Let's all congratulate my name on their exciting promotion," she said through clenched teeth, clapping exactly twice before moving on. Her eye twitch was working overtime. People exchanged confused glances because everyone knew Karen didn't handle losing control well. And the fact that I had been promoted without her involvement? That was killing her. But she wasn't done yet. Because after the meeting, she pulled me into her office and closed the door. And I knew, this was about to be legendary. She sat down, took a deep breath, and smiled. "Let's chat," she said. I sipped my coffee, making no effort to make this easier for her. "Sure," She folded her hands together, her corporate manipulation mode fully activated. "I just wanted to touch base about your promotion," she started, her voice too controlled. "I imagine this came as quite a surprise." I shrugged. "Not really. I've been overdue for a promotion." Her smile flickered for half a second before she quickly recovered. "Yes, of course. You've been doing great work," she said. "But, I did find it a little odd that management didn't consult me first." I tilted my head. "Huh, that is weird." Her nostrils flared slightly. "Yes, very unusual." I watched as she struggled to keep her composure, debating whether or not to just come out and beg me to stay. And then she went for the gaslighting route. "You know," she said, leaning forward, "I just worry that this new role might be too stressful for you." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh?" She nodded, her expression full of forced sympathy. "You've always been such a hard worker, and I'd hate to see you burn out. Maybe you'd be happier staying where you are." I almost burst out laughing. She was actually trying to talk me out of a promotion, as if I'd just happily downgrade myself out of the kindness of my heart. I kept my face neutral. "You think I can't handle it?" Her smile stiffened. No, of course not. It's just that, well, promotions come with expectations, and I wouldn't want you to feel overwhelmed." Oh, she was desperate. I took another slow sip of my coffee, letting the silence stretch just long enough to make her sweat. Then I smiled. "Don't worry, Karen," I said. "I can definitely handle it." Her eye twitched so hard I thought she might short-circuit. Karen wasn't giving up. Not yet. Because later that afternoon, I got an email with the subject line, "Exciting new opportunities. Let's talk." I opened it, skimmed the contents, and nearly choked on my drink. Karen was offering me a counter deal, except it was completely ridiculous. A revised version of my job title that sounded fancier but had no actual pay increase. An exclusive opportunity to take on more work, read her work. A one-time bonus so small it barely covered a week of my rent. And the best part? A personal mentorship program with Karen herself. I had to step away from my desk just to compose myself. Because this was peak Karen behavior. She actually thought she could convince me to downgrade myself with a pile of nonsense wrapped in corporate jargon. It was time to have some fun. So I responded. Subject: exciting new opportunities. Let's talk. Hi Karen, thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate the offer, especially the chance to have a mentorship experience with you. That sounds truly enlightening. However, after careful reflection, I believe the best path for me is to embrace the exciting new challenges that my promotion brings. It's such a wonderful opportunity, and I know I can handle it. Looking forward to collaborating with you in my new role. Best, my name. I sent it, and waited. And exactly 2 minutes later, I heard a distant, muffled shriek from Karen's office. I smiled to myself. She was losing it. The thing about corporate environments, people talk. And the second Karen started spiraling, people noticed. Rumors started spreading that she had mishandled employee retention. Whispers floated around that upper management had promoted me without consulting her, because they didn't trust her leadership. It was delicious. But the final blow? That came when Karen's boss, our department VP, called an emergency meeting. I walked into the conference room, casually taking a seat while Karen fidgeted nervously beside me. Our VP, Mr. Langley, cleared his throat. "I wanted to touch base about some recent developments," he said, his eyes scanning the room before landing on Karen. She immediately straightened up. "Yes, of course. Everything is under control." He raised an eyebrow. "Is it?" Karen let out a high-pitched laugh. "Why wouldn't it be?" Langley leaned back, clasping his hands together. "Because I've been hearing that you've been discouraging employees from advancing within the company." Karen's soul left her body. What? She stammered. "I would never." Langley turned to me. "Do you feel supported in your new role?" I put on my best innocent expression. "Oh, absolutely," I said. "In fact, Karen's been extra attentive lately. It's almost like she didn't realize my value until I threatened to leave." A heavy silence fell over the room. Karen's face turned an impressive shade of red. Langley let out a slow, knowing sigh. "We'll talk later," he said, shooting Karen a pointed look. She swallowed hard. I bit back a smile. Because we both knew. Karen had just sealed her fate. Karen was losing control. And for someone who thrived on micromanaging, backstabbing, and taking credit for other people's work, that was the worst possible thing that could happen. Ever since the emergency meeting, where upper management basically exposed her incompetence, she had been operating in full damage control mode, which meant that I was watching Karen suffer. And honestly, it was glorious. The very next morning, Karen burst into the office early, something that never happened. Normally, she sauntered in late, coffee in hand, sunglasses perched on her head like she was some kind of corporate celebrity. But not today. Today she was desperate. She had a new strategy, and it was written all over her face. Karen was trying to rebrand herself. She wanted everyone to forget the fact that she had been exposed as a horrible manager, forget that she had tried to sabotage my promotion, and forget that she had been begging me to stay just days ago. And how was she doing this? By pretending to be the nicest boss on the planet. The first sign of Karen's forced transformation came when I walked into the office and found a mysterious cup of coffee sitting on my desk. A free coffee from Karen. I stared at it like it was a ticking time bomb. Because the only thing Karen had ever given me before was extra work, stress, and existential despair. Before I could even process the sheer absurdity of it, she appeared beside me, grinning way too hard. "Morning, champ," she chirped. I blinked. "Did you just call me champ?" She waved a hand, laughing too loudly. "Oh, don't be silly. Just showing my appreciation for my favorite employee." I looked at the coffee, then at her, then back at the coffee. "So this isn't poisoned?" I asked. Karen fake laughed again, but I saw her eye twitch. I picked up the cup, inspecting it like a detective at a crime scene. "Wow, this is actually my exact order." She nodded eagerly. "Of course, I listen to my employees." I let out a slow whistle. "Wow, a week ago, you barely listened when I told you the printer was out of paper." Her smile faltered for half a second. Then she recovered. "Well, I'm turning over a new leaf," she said, voice tight with forced enthusiasm. I took a slow sip of the coffee. Not bad," I said. "So, what's next? Are you going to start remembering our birthdays? Hosting a company retreat? Creating a healthy work environment?" Her eye twitched harder. I had never seen someone fight so hard to suppress their natural Karen instincts. This was better than television. Karen's fake personality shift wasn't just directed at me. She was on a mission to win over the entire office. And it was going horribly. She tried asking employees about their personal lives, except she was so bad at it that it felt like a police interrogation. "So, you have a dog, right?" she asked Jamie from accounting. Jamie blinked. "I have 3 kids." Karen's smile froze. "Oh, yes, of course. Kids. Dogs. Same thing." Later, she tried spontaneously giving people compliments, which was also a disaster. "Hey, Greg, I love your shirt." Greg glanced down at his plain white button-up. "Karen, this is a uniform." "Oh, well, you wear it well." Then she walked away awkwardly before Greg could process what had just happened. By lunchtime, the entire office had figured out what was happening. Karen was trying to undo years of corporate evilness in one single day, and nobody was buying it. I was having the time of my life. But the real fun? That came when Karen made a fatal mistake. It was around 3 p.m. when Karen called a sudden team-building meeting, which was already suspicious because Karen would rather be hit by a bus than spend time building anything that wasn't her own ego. We all filed into the conference room, where Karen stood smiling way too hard, hands clasped together like she was about to host a game show. "All right, everyone," she said, her voice unnaturally chipper. "I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge all the amazing teamwork happening in this office." People exchanged glances, clearly wondering what brand of cult nonsense was about to happen. She continued, "And of course," she said, turning to me, "a special shout-out to my name for all the hard work that led to their well-deserved promotion." I narrowed my eyes. I did not trust this. "Yep," she added, "just another example of how I always encourage growth and opportunity for my employees." Oh no, she didn't. This woman was actually trying to take credit for my success. The room went completely silent. I could feel every single one of my coworkers tensing, waiting for me to respond. So I smiled. "Oh, absolutely," I said. In fact, I still remember the exact moment you encouraged me to go for this promotion. Karen beamed. Yes, exactly. I leaned forward. It was right after I turned in my resignation letter. Karen's face dropped faster than a malfunctioning elevator. The entire room erupted into laughter. Karen's face turned bright red. Her hands clenched at her sides like she was trying to keep her soul from leaving her body. I could practically see her brain short-circuiting, because she had walked straight into that one. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, but nothing came out. Because there was no way to talk her way out of this. For the rest of the day, Karen was dead silent. She didn't send a single passive-aggressive email. She didn't hover by my desk. She didn't breathe in my general direction. It was almost peaceful. But then, at exactly 5:04 p.m., my phone buzzed. A long email from Karen. I skimmed through it, barely holding back laughter. She had finally lost it. The email was a masterpiece of corporate nonsense, filled with buzzwords like synergy and collaborative restructuring, desperately trying to regain control of the situation. But the funniest part? The subject line. It read, "Clarification on recent events and team morale moving forward." Oh, she was spiraling. I knew this was only the beginning. Karen wasn't going to go down without a fight. She was going to try one last desperate move to reclaim her authority, and I was going to be ready for it. Because at this point, it wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about seeing just how far Karen could fall when she was out of options. Her desperate attempts to rewrite history had failed spectacularly. Her forced personality makeover had crumbled into awkwardness. Her fake kindness campaign had only made people even more suspicious of her. And now? Now she had one last move left to play. I could feel it in the air, the sheer corporate panic radiating off of her. Karen wasn't the type to admit defeat gracefully. No, she was going to fight to the bitter end, grasping for control until there was nothing left. And I was going to be there to watch every second of it. It all started with a suspicious meeting invitation. Subject: Department Realignment Discussion, Mandatory Attendance. Sent by Karen McAllister, Director of Chaos and Bad Decisions. The second I saw it, I knew exactly what she was trying to do. She was planning a power move. Karen was about to pull something drastic, something she thought would reassert her dominance after weeks of being publicly humiliated. I accepted the invite, grabbed my popcorn figuratively speaking, and prepared for war. The entire department gathered in the conference room. Karen stood at the front, her corporate villain energy at full power. I could already tell. She had been rehearsing this speech in the mirror for hours, hyping herself up for what she believed would be her big comeback moment. She cleared her throat. "As you all know," she began, her voice oozing with fake confidence, "our department has undergone some recent changes. Translation: I have been humiliated beyond recognition, and I'm barely holding it together." She forced a smile. "But with change comes opportunity." I raised an eyebrow. Oh, this was going to be good. "So," she continued, smiling wider than any human should be able to, "after careful consideration, I've decided to restructure some of our leadership roles." A murmur spread through the room. Restructuring? Karen wasn't just desperate. She was trying to grab power back. I watched as she flipped a page on her clipboard, preparing to drop whatever nonsense she had planned. "And," she said, "to ensure a smooth transition, I'll be taking a more active role in overseeing our senior staff's responsibilities, effective immediately." Oh. I saw what she was doing. Karen had just reassigned herself as my direct supervisor. This wasn't about restructuring. This was about me. She was trying to force me back under her control. And I was about to ruin her entire plan. I leaned back in my chair, giving her the slowest, most deliberate nod I could muster. Then I smiled. "So," I said, keeping my tone light and casual, "just to clarify, you're saying you'll be directly managing my role?" Karen beamed, clearly thinking she had just outplayed me. "That's correct," she said. "I think it's important that we maintain alignment." I let out a slow, exaggerated sigh. That's interesting." Her smile twitched slightly. "Interesting how?" she asked, her voice just a tad too sharp. I took out my phone, scrolled for a second, then turned the screen around for everyone to see. "Because," I said, "I just got an email from Langley." Karen's smug expression cracked instantly. Everyone leaned forward, sensing something huge was about to happen. I tapped the screen. It was an email from our department VP. It read, "From Richard Langley, VP of Corporate Justice. To my name. Subject, exciting new developments in leadership. Hi, my name. I wanted to personally congratulate you again on your promotion and let you know that moving forward, you'll be reporting directly to me. Given your outstanding performance, I believe it's important for you to have a direct line to executive leadership, rather than being filtered through mid-level management. Looking forward to working together more closely. Best, Langley." Silence. Then, a single, beautiful snort of laughter from someone in the back. Karen's face drained of color so fast I thought she might pass out. Her entire power grab had just been obliterated in real time. Because I wasn't reporting to her at all. I had skipped right over her authority. She had no control over me whatsoever. And now, everyone knew it. Karen's brain fully short-circuited. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. She looked like she was trying to summon an excuse from the depths of hell. But there was nothing she could say. She had lost. Again, in front of everyone. The room was on the verge of chaos. People whispering, some barely holding back laughter, others waiting to see what she would do next. And then Karen made the ultimate mistake. She snapped. "This isn't fair," she blurted out, slamming her clipboard onto the table. The entire room went dead silent. I slowly leaned forward. "I'm sorry." Karen realized her outburst was completely unhinged, but it was too late. She was beyond saving now. Her breathing was uneven, her hands clenched into fists, her entire body shaking with rage. This is ridiculous," she stammered. You shouldn't be reporting to Langley. I'm the department head. I should have been consulted." I crossed my arms. "Kind of like how I should have been consulted before you tried to take credit for my work?" A few people in the room actually whispered, "Ooh," under their breath. Karen's eye twitched violently. This company has no respect for hierarchy, for authority, for..." Before she could continue, the conference room door swung open, and standing there, arms crossed, looking very, very unamused, Langley. "Oh," I said, sitting back. "Perfect timing." Karen froze. Langley gave her a long, disappointed look. Then, in a voice far too calm for the situation, he simply said, "My office." "Now." Karen swallowed hard. Langley raised an eyebrow. "Now, Karen." She stormed out of the room, her heels clicking violently against the floor, defeated beyond repair. The second the door closed behind her, the entire conference room exploded into laughter. And just like that, Karen was done. Karen never recovered. The very next day, an HR announcement hit our inboxes. Subject, leadership changes. Department update. The email was short, sweet, and absolutely beautiful. "Hi team, effective immediately. Karen McAllister will be transitioning out of the company. We wish her the best in her future endeavors. Moving forward, all department matters will be handled directly by Langley's office. Best, HR Karen was gone, fired, completely removed from the company. And me? Well, I got a raise, a corner office, and a department that was now blissfully Karen-free. The reign of corporate Karen was over. Completely.